This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, go to LibriVox.org. Recorded by Bryden Jones. The Beast of Space, a tale of the prospectors of the starways, of dangers, by F. E. Hardart. He staggered back from the lapping pool, the gas, the weight of the girl's body, the dog. Here the dark cave, along which Nat Starrett had been creeping, broadened into what his powerful searchlight revealed to be a low, wide, smoothly circular room. At his feet lapped black, thick-looking waves of an underground lake, a pool of viscous substance that gave off a penetrating, poignant odor of acid, sweetish and intoxicating, unlike any acid he knew. The smell rolled up in a sickening, sultry cloud that penetrated his helmet, made him cough and choke. Near its center, projected from the sticky stuff, what appeared to be the nose of a spaceship. He looked down near his feet at the edge of the pool where thick, slowly moving tongues of the liquid appeared to reach up towards him, as if intent on pulling him into the depths. As each hungry wave fell back, it left a slimy, snake-like trail behind. Now came a wave of strange music, music such as he had never heard before. Faintly it had begun some time back, so faintly he was barely aware of it. Now it swelled into a smooth, impelling wail, lulling him into drowsiness. He did not wonder why he could hear it through the soundproof space helmet he wore. He ceased to wonder about anything. There was only the strange sweetness of acid and the throbbing music. Abruptly, the spell was broken by something shrilling in his brain, sending little chills racing up and down his spine. Digger! A small, oddly canine-like creature with telepathic powers, a space dweller which men found when they first came to the asteroids. The relationship between spacehounds and men was much the same between man and dog in the old Earthbound days. Appropriate name for the beast? Digger. With those large, incredibly hard claws designed for rooting in the metal makeup of the asteroids for vital elements, the spacehound could easily have shredded the man's spacesuit and helmet, could, at any time, tear huge chunks out of men's fine ships. The half-conscious man jerked his thin form erect, his mouth, which had gaped loosely, closed with a snap into firm lines. "She isn't in this hellhole, Digger. You wouldn't expect her to be where we could find her easily." Scooping the small beast up under his good arm, he quickly climbed the steep, slimy slope of the cave. The other arm in his suit hung empty. That empty arm in the spacesuit told the story of an Earthman become voluntary exile, choosing the desolation of space to the companionship of other humans who would deluge him with unwanted sympathy. The spacehound was friendly in its own fashion. Fortunately, such complex things as sympathy were apparently outside its abilities. The two could interchange impressions of danger, comfort, pleasure, discomfort, fear, and appreciation of each other's company, but little more. Whether or not the creature could understand his thoughts, he could not tell. As he went on, he reviewed, mentally, the events leading up to his landing here. The sudden appearance on his teleview screen of the face and slim shoulders of a girl, her attractiveness plainly distinguishable through her helmet. For a moment he forgot he disliked women. The call for help cut short, but not before he had learned that apparently she was being held prisoner on asteroid Moira. He knew he'd have to do what he could, even if it meant unwanted company for an indefinite length of time. The spell was gone soon after her face vanished. He remembered former experiences with attractive-looking girls. Damn traditions. A change in his course and a landing on asteroid Moira. Here he'd found a honeycomb of caves, all leading from one large main tunnel. The cavern walls had been of translucent, quartz-like substance, ranging in color from yellowish brown to violet gray. It looked vaguely familiar, yet he could not place it. There was not time to examine it more carefully. The room in which he'd found the evil hungry lake had been the first one to his right. Now he crossed the opening in the opposite wall. The mouth of this cave was much larger, wider than the other. He stood in the opening, slowly swung the beam of his torch around the smooth walls, still holding Digger, who, by now, was indicating that he'd like to be set down. Nat released him unthinkingly, his mind fully taken up with what the light revealed. Spaceships. The room was packed with them, all sizes, old and new. A veritable sargasso. At first, he thought they might be craft belonging to nameless inhabitants of this world, but, as he approached them, he recognized terrestrial identifications. The first was a scout ship of American Spaceways. Nat recognized the name, Ceres, remembered a telecast account of its disappearance in space. There was a neat little reward for information as to its whereabouts. Nat's lips curled in derision. It wouldn't equal the expense of his journey out here. There was a deep groove in the smooth material of the floor where the ship had been dragged through the doorway into the room. What machines could have done this work without leaving their own traces? He went to the other ships. All were small, mostly single or two-passenger craft. The last entry in the logs of many was to the effect that they were about to land on the asteroid Moira to rescue a girl held captive there. None had crashed. All ships were in perfect order, but all were deserted. Two doors were gone from the interior of one of the vessels. They might have been removed for any of 100 reasons, but why here? Nat's glance swept the room, came to rest on the figure of a heavy-duty robot of familiar design. Semi-human in form, it looked like some misshapen, bent, headless giant. He inspected it. Mayer's Robot, Inc., Earth designed for mining operations on Mars. Well, Digger, I can see now how these ships were brought in here. That robot could move any one of these with ease, but that doesn't explain where the humans have gone. It might be space pirates using this asteroid for a base, or it might be some alien form of life. We're still free. Shall we beat it, or stay and try to check this out? He did not know how much of this got over to the Spacehound, but the impressions he received in answer were those of approving their remaining where they were. I suppose the best system is to explore the rest of the caves in order. Let's go. Followed by Digger, he walked quietly toward the next cave on the left, slipped through the doorway, and, standing with his back against the wall, swung the light of his torch in a wide, swift arc about the room. Halfway around, he stopped abruptly. A slim, petite figure appeared clearly in the searchlight's glare. The girl he had seen on the televisor stood in the middle of the room, facing a telecaster, her back toward him. She did not seem aware of him as he moved forward. What could be wrong? Surely that light would arouse her. The figure did not turn as he approached. So near was he now that he could seize her easily. Still she made no move. Nat stepped to one side, flashed his torch in her face. Her beautifully lashed eyes stared straight ahead unblinkingly. The expression on her lovely, composed face did not change. A robot. He laughed bitterly. But then, he was not the only one. She was an Earth product. Nat opened her helmet and found the trademark of Spurgeon's robots hung like a necklace about her throat. But whoever had lured him here easily could have removed her from one of the vessels in the front cave. It did not seem like the work of pirates, more likely unknown intelligent beings. He turned to examine the televisor. It too was an Earth product. The mechanism was of old design. Evidently, it had been taken from the first of the ships to land here. Outside of the telecaster and the solitary robot, there was nothing to be seen in this cave. A sound behind him. He whirled, heat rod poised for the swift stabbing action. Nothing. Except small bowling ball things rolling in through a narrow door. Ridiculous things of the same yellowish quartz material as composed the cave walls. At regular intervals, a dull bluish light poured forth from rounded holes in their smooth sides, and issuing forth from within these comic globes was the same weird, compelling music he had heard before. They rolled up to him, brushed against his toes. A shrilling in his brain told him that Digger was aware of them. Back, Digger, he thought as he drew away from the globes. They poured their penetrating blue light over him.